I would have my next review out, but if it wasn't for an April Fool's prank that Guild Wars 2 did, that wasn't really an April Fool's prank. Roll the intro!
Ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to try something a little bit different. April 1st is generally a day when you don't trust anyone or anything. So naturally, when I first heard the Super Adventure Box was back, I didn't believe it. If it turned out to be an April Fool's prank, I was quite ready to brandish a pitchfork and drive all the way to ArenaNet's headquarters. Actually, I wouldn't do that because screw driving that far. I would just go and cry in the corner. Please keep in mind a few things about this review. I'm reviewing Super Adventure Box as it was released in April 2016. I'm not making a guide for the achievements. If you want a guide, I recommend that you check out Dulfy's guides. She does a fantastic job about guiding you through the Super Adventure Box achievements, walkthroughs, and all that good stuff. I'm also going to try a different format in this review, just to try out new stuff. I'm also going to do something scary. I'm going to give this review without looking at a script. This will either be the most original thing I've ever done, or terribly boring. And this is where the script ends. So to start off, we need to ask the question, what is Super Adventure Box? Firstly, know that Super Adventure Box was originally released in 2013 as a bit of an April Fool's prank. It's a type of dungeon, if you will. It recommends that you play 4-player, but the game is very much soloable. The theme is that you basically take your character, same look, same everything, into an 18-bit world that Moto has created. Moto is an Asuran in Ratasun. That's pretty much the gist of it. Then you go into this dungeon, you run through it, and you try to save the princess at the end of it. It's probably very familiar sounding to most people. That being said, the first thing that you need to do is go to Ratasun. So you go to Ratasun. If you know your way around Guild Wars 2, you go to Ratasun, and then pretty much right at the front entrance of Ratasun, you have the entrance to Super Adventure Box. Upon entering Super Adventure Box, you'll enter into a hub world, and then you will go to World 1. I don't know if you can go to any of the other ones, but it's just best if you start with World 1. You go into World 1, and then you get a pretty straightforward, not too difficult playthrough to get through the first one. The footage that you'll be seeing me play is actually just going through the standard mode. There are 3 different modes that you can play Super Adventure Box. You can play Super Adventure Box in infantile mode, but the rewards are not so great in infantile mode. In this mode, you actually have clouds which will guide your way basically and help you get over anything. So for the most part, I always think of it as like you'd hardly have to do anything. There is a time that you want to use infantile mode though. You might want to use it if you have achievements to get and stuff like that. There's a use for it, but generally if you're just running through, you're not going to want to do it. The mode that you'll be seeing me play through as, and if there's any extra time that I need to add to this video, I'll also include Tribulation mode. But the mode that you'll be seeing most is just basically a speed run. Well, if you can call my routes a speed run. There's probably an optimal route and some guy that has a record, but I'm going as fast as I can and get as many baubles as I can. But the route that you'll be seeing mostly will be for the standard version of Super Adventure Box. Super Adventure Box, like said, you go into it and then you run through it. There are several different things that you'll probably notice, and unfortunately, there is a bit of a complication. Normally, you start off the game with just a stick, but my character has everything unlocked. So, starting from just the user interface. So you'll see the first icon with the number 1 under it. That is currently a nunchuck of sorts. You start out with a stick, but you upgrade it once you get to World 2 if you find where the spot is. So that's the stick is what you start with. Next up, you have the slingshot. You purchase these upgrades and these other items with in-game currency called baubles, which are the numerous little blue things that you see me picking up. They're just the orbs that you find in the area. Continuing on though. So number 1, nunchuck. It's just your standard attack weapon. And I definitely love how the theme is it's dangerous to go alone. Here, take this. I don't know. It very much amused me and reminded me of Legend of Zelda times. That being said, I keep derailing myself. Number 1 is nunchuck. Number 2 is a slingshot. The slingshot is a ranged weapon. Unfortunately, when you use the slingshot, it consumes baubles. Just 1, but that can add up. Some people like to use it. I would rather just, you know, learn when to dodge and when to attack with just the standard melee attack. Number 3 is a bomb. You will actually get the bomb before the slingshot, if I do remember correctly. And then you also have the whip, which stuns enemies. The bomb will actually unlock secret areas. It'll also do damage to other enemies that are within a radius. Generally, you're going to use the bomb to get into secret areas. The whip is just a stunning tool. Honestly, I don't even know why I got it. I hardly use it at all. It does have a little bit extra range. With the stick, you might need it to be able to reach other people. But generally, I don't use it with the nunchuck because the nunchuck's reach is just as far as the whips. Then you also have the 5 slot, which mine is a torch, but that's an upgraded version. The first thing that you get is a candle. Basically, it sets things on fire so that you light it on fire, it goes on fire. But not everything can be lit on fire. Like, you can't light just ferns or foliage that you see in the area. There are specific types of plants and situations that use it. The torch that I'm using, that is actually used for, again, World 2, and that's to get through snow barriers. So it's an upgrade that will be needed to be purchased eventually. But you don't need to worry about it until World 2. Now you have the 6 slot. The 6 slot is potions. If you don't know how potions work, how are you a video gamer? Sorry to be sassy, but seriously, it's pretty elementary, my dear Watson. Potions are used to heal your health. Now, you'll also notice... hold that thought. I'll explain the user interface in a second. Number 7 is the flute. The flute is to unlock secret areas in World 2. Don't worry about it. You will probably not find the flute until you start watching guides and stuff like that. Number 8 is the shovel. There are specific spots that you can dig up extra baubles and secrets and stuff like that. If you don't have a spot that you dig up baubles, you'll either get nothing or you'll dig up a very angry bunny, which will then try to melt your face. But just a couple smacks with nunchucks and, you know, go on your way. Number 9 is... I don't know what the official name for that one is. It's a glove of sorts. I always think of it as giving people high fives. You know, do with that what you will. It's used in World 2 again, so it's not something you need to worry about getting into it. But you're going to use it for deflecting projectile weapons. So if somebody's like... I never tried it, but I imagine that you'd be able to reflect coconuts or the shots fired by hillbillies and stuff like that. Like, I'm sure there is a use to do it. The problem is the timing. But generally, you will use it to break down certain walls in World 2. Comes in handy. Last but not least, you have the 0 slot. The 0 slot is your elite skill. The elite skill is unlockable in the first world. The elite skill is basically a thumb that comes from the heaven, or it's a thumb or a finger that comes from the heavens and squashes whatever you're targeting. You have to have somebody targeted for it to actually work, though. Then it also has fireballs that come out the side, but generally I use it on the boss cage at the end. So, yeah. Well... it works, but it doesn't have like the full effect. You just kind of see the shot fired and you see the health go down, but you don't see the full amount. There are also a couple different things that I've been demonstrating through the playthrough that I really haven't spoken about yet. There are different types of upgrades. I believe that there are 4 types of upgrades. You have clouds, which give a buff similar to swiftness. Basically, it makes you run faster. You have a sun, which causes the player to deal double damage. It's very useful, especially if you can get to a cage. Generally, they're kept far enough away that you can't beat the cage. You have a moon, which will give you stealth, which lets you sneak by enemies. And then a star, which will make you invulnerable. Alright, now we gotta do my favorite thing, which normally I should start off with this. Let's move on to explaining the user interface. Now, I'm not going to explain the normal Guild Wars 2 user interface. You probably already know that, or you should. If you don't, if it's requested, maybe I can do a review or explain the basics of Guild Wars 2. There's a lot to get into that, though. I digress. You have the hearts. Easiest one to go for. The hearts indicate your health. Pretty straightforward. You start off the game with only 3 hearts, and then you unlock the extra heart container after you beat the boss. Very much like Legend of Zelda. Can't help but love that. I mean, that's just how I feel about it. You'll also notice that my character is missing the last heart to unlock. I assume that is because they will eventually release World 3, which is where we'll take on another boss, and we'll be able to unlock another heart. Anyway, that's what I would like to think. You'll also see, for most of this playthrough, I don't think I die any times, but the number 16 and a man next to it, just right next to the hearts. The man represents your lives. I always thought of it as like the shopkeeper man, but that's the lives. And then next to that is the baubles. So there are 2 different types of baubles. You have baubles and baubles. Now, with that being said, I feel stupid every time I say baubles because I don't know. It just really makes me feel stupid saying baubles. At the end of each level, when you loot the chest, you will get 2 baubles, which are different than baubles because the baubles, you can trade baubles in for baubles. I feel dumb. Every time I say that, I feel just stupider. My intelligence is just shrinking. You can trade in 250 baubles for 1 bauble. And that almost explains everything there's to the interface. Below that, you have all the different weapons and skills that I have spoken about. When you start the game, you really don't have anything except for the stick, and then you purchase upgrades as you go on. Next to the 0 icon, so right at the end there, you'll see a house. If you click on that house, that returns you to the main hub, so do keep that in mind. There is also a scoring system, which you get 1 point every time you kill an NPC. I'll be honest with you, I've got no idea why that scoring system is there. I've always wondered if I maybe get more baubles at the end of my level, if I have a higher score, but it really doesn't make much sense. Okay, so that explains the user interface stuff. Next, we need to move on to the 2 different modes. I'll get to a little bit more detail into explaining the different game modes. Next, we move on to what is infantile mode. So I've already pretty well explained it. I don't have any footage of it, but infantile mode is basically just an easier mode to get through. You cannot get all the achievements in this mode. However, you can get some of the achievements, namely collecting all the different baubles within the level. Again, if you want a guide for how to get all the baubles or how to get all these different achievements, Dulfy is definitely your person because she does fantastic guides. I highly recommend that you check them out. Other than that, I do have a lot of friends that do infantile mode because they are, I guess, unfamiliar with the route that they can take. Really, it's not that difficult running the standard mode. You don't get the baubles at the end, which is an item that you probably should be going for, especially if you're trying to unlock weapon skins, get collections, and stuff like that. However, if you're just trying to experience it, then that's your route. Go ahead and do infantile mode. It was put into the game for anybody that it was too hard for. On that note, though, World 2, I will not judge you for using infantile mode in World 2. I've only recently gotten to the point where I've been working on tribulation mode in World 2. I do not judge you in the slightest. World 2 takes forever to do. Just saying. Next, we move on to tribulation mode, or as you probably could call it, just basically fancy torture. Tribulation mode is, let's just say this. Do you remember my Super Meat Boy review? Yeah. Tribulation mode reminds me of Super Meat Boy in such a way that I had no intention of ever doing tribulation mode. You see, they released on the gem store, which that requires more background, but I'm just going to assume that you know the gem store. If you don't, just leave a comment, be like, I don't know what the gem store is, and I will reply to you explaining what the gem store is. But they released over the gem store an infinite continue coin, And it is recommended that if you want to do tribulation mode, you should pick up this infinite continue coin. Everything is trying to kill you. So going from just the flowers want to kill you, you can step on the wrong type of flower, the flower will kill you. The signs which are normally helping you, they're trying to kill you. There are spikes of death everywhere. I do have some footage of this, and so I'll probably video edit some of the footage in. It's really bad. It's just brutal death. Now, when you do see the footage of me going through tribulation mode, do keep in mind that I actually, at the time that I'm recording this, have gone through tribulation mode in World 1 so many times that I now subconsciously am always trying to avoid spikes, even when I'm playing in normal mode. It's just you only can die so many times. You learn the route, and then you just walk on a hair to make sure that you don't misstep anywhere. It just gets ridiculous that you just sense where the wrong place to stand is. However, again, I'm not some great player. I followed Dulfy's guide, watched the guide, went through it once, and then being a visual learner, I was able to retain the information and be able to go through on my own after that. So I've only watched the guides once, but I was able to get through it after that point. If you want to get into tribulation mode, pick up the infinite continue coin and then just go for it. You'll eventually get it. It just takes needing to get that infinite continue coin. Otherwise, you will drive yourself crazy. On that note, though, the infinite continue coin is really useful because when you die and you respawn, a normal continue coin, I think, gives you maybe 10 lives. Using an infinite continue coin will boost your lives up to, I think it's 99, which is the maximum that you can have on your character. What if you'd break it? If you died, use an infinite continue coin and then purchased another life. But you don't need to worry about using the infinite continue coin very much. As soon as you start getting better, you don't need to use it. So, for example, last night, went through tribulation mode for World 1 and the first two levels in tribulation mode, and I didn't need to use the infinite continue coin. So, I died less than 100 times. Oh, I almost forgot. There's one more detail that you might want to know about tribulation mode. Why you would even want to do it. The reason why you'd want to do tribulation mode is so that you can unlock specific skins for going through the area. By going through World 1, you will unlock the King Toad skin type weapons. You need to get through each of the levels in tribulation mode. Each level, at the end, once you move on to the next area, you will be rewarded with a chest. This chest will have a token in it. You need to combine 3 tokens and 1 skin type thing that you purchase from Moto with 2 gold. After that, then you mix it all in the Mystic Forge, which again, if you don't know what the Forge is, I will link you to Wikipedia articles. It's in Lion's Arch. If you don't know, ask, I'll let you know. All of the Mystic Forge stuff would be for a guide that I may release, not a guide, a review that I may release sometime for Guild Wars 2. On that note, though, you would want to do tribulation mode for the specific skins. The King Toad skins yield the same skin as Super Adventure Box normal skins. The only difference is that they are green. If you like green, then you'll want to do this, or if you're an achiever, something like that. Boy, oh boy, now we move on to one of my personal favorites. What are the achievements you can earn in Super Adventure Box? Now, rather than just going down the spreadsheet and telling you all the different achievements that you can get, generally, the achievements are going to be as follows. You gotta go to an area and collect something. You need to finish the game. You need to accomplish some other type of feature within the game. You have the different types of collections. There are the different... You have to collect all the different baubles in all the different levels. So you have to go and collect every single bauble. That's one. You have to do that in each different world. There are also secrets that you need to locate. You also need to dig holes. So there's a couple grindy ones that you also need to work. There are 3 different categories for these. You've got World 1 achievements, World 2 achievements, and Tribulation Mode achievements. As the name probably suggests, you probably already figured out for yourself. World 1 achievements can only be earned in World 1, while World 2 achievements can only be earned in World 2. As I've already said, it kind of crosses over. You need to find all the different hidden rooms and all the different ones in World 1, and then the same goes for World 2. Collect all the different baubles in level 1, 2, 3 in World 1, and then all the different baubles in level 1, 2, 3 in World 2. Tribulation mode is where it gets a little bit more sticky. In Tribulation mode, there are maybe 3 different categories. There's one that you need to go and destroy a bonus boss, if you will. In World 1, they're all ugly bee-dog. A bee queen? Bee-dog queen? Yeah, that's the word. You have to go and destroy a honeycomb bee-dog queen that's guarding it. So you have to do that. And then in World 2, it's the same thing, but instead it's the Kingpin, I think is what his name is. It's an angry mafia raccoon guy. You don't mess with him. Yes. On that note, we'll just wait for the next review, because you think that's bad, just wait until you hear me try to do an Italian accent on the next review coming up. Stay tuned. Then there's also just the achievement that's rewarded for just beating Tribulation Mode World 1. There is one more achievement, though, and it's Tough Customer. Tough Customer means that you need to visit all the shops while in Tribulation Mode. If it's not tough enough navigating in Tribulation Mode, you have to visit the shops as well. It's part of what takes so long when you're watching Dulfy's guide, which, again, her guides are fantastic. It's just that she's showing how to get all the different achievements, so just running through Tribulation Mode, that's something that I kind of wanted, but I need to get all the achievements anyway. It's just kind of like, ugh, there's so much to do. It takes so long. It doubles the amount of time that it takes to go through it, because you have to watch the guide, and then you have to do it for yourself. But I digress. Those are the achievements. There are also dailies. The dailies do change from day to day. So again, I'm just going to go off of what has been going on since it was released in 2016. Well, re-released in 2016. There are different types of dailies. There are dailies for destroying furniture. You have to destroy 10 things of furniture. There are dailies for digging up enough baubles, generally 2 or 3. Unlocking chests. And then you also have the adventure type dailies. Each daily has a name on it, and the name represents what you need to do. So say you have adventuring 101 adventuring. That means that you just beat World 1 level 1. That's all you have to do. It's adventuring 103 or 203. Let's go 203. So adventuring 203. If you're doing adventuring 203, then it's World 2 level 3. So the name is pretty self-explanatory. If it is I don't know, Master of Decor 102. You have to destroy furniture in World 1 Zone 2. So the dailies are pretty self-explanatory. Again, Dulfy's got a guide up. You can check those out if you're curious on how to finish a daily. Generally, some are a little bit more grindy than others, like getting the chests in World 3, I think. I think World 3 is where you have to get 3 different chests instead of just getting 2 like in World 1. So I kind of opt out and I go for the easiest ones. The rewards for your dailies, I'm not going to lie, they suck. You don't really get much at all. You get maybe 3 or 4, around 10 baubles, 8 or 10 baubles per daily that you do. You'd be better off, if you're going to farm baubles that way, you would be better off, and mind you, baubles, not baubles. Baubles. And I'm sure I'm going to be judged on how I pronounce bauble, because, like, bauble is bad. Anyway, those are the achievements for what it's worth. And our last category that we come to, why hasn't Atratzu had time to work on his review? So, the honest answer is that I have been working really hard at trying to get achievements. It's kind of the problem about being an overachiever that is also now trying to do YouTube, because I've found myself caught in the crossroads of trying to play video games and get achievements, fight through my backlog, write Steam reviews, and then also do something for YouTube. I'm not giving up on what my goal is. My goal is to do a video, at least one video review a month. I want to do more than that. It just kind of comes down to how much time I'm spending doing this or that. I still plan to do that. But throughout April, Super Adventure Box is here throughout the entire month. Now, going along, it will get easier for me to finish my dailies faster because I'm almost done getting all the different weapon skins for King Toad. Actually, I'm going to have that done by the end of the weekend that I'm recording this. Then I'll just need to learn how to do Tribulation mode for World 2, and I may or may not do anything with just speed running World 1 and World 2 in regular mode. Generally, it takes me about an hour or so to get through all of them. That being said, that's what a lot of my attention has been directed towards. However, I do have, well, I have taken the time to get some of the camera footage, not to be confused with game footage. I have gotten some of the camera footage that I need for the next review. So by the time this is all posted, hopefully I'll be off working on the next review and I'll have it done. I will have the next review done before the end of the month, but again, that's kind of what I've been working on. There's also been some stuff that's happened in real life, but I mean, everyone talks about that, so there's no sense in talking about that anymore. Moving on, that's what I've been up to. I'm still working on the next review. The next review will be done. It probably will be closer to the end of the month, but I will have that review done. I've also given away a hint for the review. A lot of people know what the review is already. My next review will be Mafia 2. So that is what you can look forward to in the coming month. This coming month. No, not this coming month. Does that mean next month? Man, English is complicated. But that is why Atratzu hasn't had time to work on his reviews. Dailies. I do this every day. I just run through Tribulation mode. I run through regular. I get the daily achievements. And yeah, that's what I've been up to. And now we get to return to the script again. Whew. Hopefully this review turns out alright. I've never tried to go scriptless before. If this is successful, maybe I'll give it another try. Don't worry, I've got a regular review coming out this month, like I've already said earlier. I have just been playing Super Adventure Box really hard this month. Hey, and I was just thinking, hey, how about I just work on reviewing something that I've been doing? If this works, then it really opens the door to a lot of different things that I could do with my reviews. I could review the different experiences that I've had playing free-to-play characters on different games. Plus, I also really wanted to upload new content. Those fast reviews just weren't cutting it. I can't force myself to cover details quickly. I'm too long-winded and feel like I'm cheating the viewer out of important details. That, and if I miss anything, you can know without a doubt that people are going to immediately correct me on it, and trying to correct something in a video, it does not go nearly as fast. In a written review, I can just go in, edit, done, but not so much in videos. I mean, you could, but then I have to re-upload it, and not everyone wants to rewatch the whole thing, so it just, a lot of times I just have to chalk it up for, whoops, I guess that's going to be there forever. Well, thank you for watching. Stay tuned for my next review. I've already told you what it is. I wrote in here in this script I said, I'll give you a hint, the next review I'm wearing a suit and tie and smoking. I think I've got a couple funny clips coming down the line. I'm very excited for it. Yeah. I laughed at some parts, which I don't know. I don't laugh at my jokes normally. I don't laugh at my stuff normally. So, hey, laughing at something that I did, I think that's a pretty good sign. I thought it was funny. Anyway, my name is Atratzu, and I approve this review. Look, I personally enjoy both, but the enhanced version has more special effect graphics. But the original has a far more clean look, so you can kind of weigh that for yourself. Part of me feels like J.J. Abrams got a hold of the enhanced edition and said, let's add lens flares, and everyone was like, what? No, everyone knows you like those. So they met in the middle ground and made everything very light and shiny and sparkly surfaced.